So, what's the secret ingredient? What's the one thing that separates a boss who just manages from a leader who truly inspires? Well, it's not the title and it's not the corner office. Today, we're going to unpack the psychology of real leadership, and I mean really get into the actionable stuff that makes all the difference.
We've all been there, right? You've had that one boss who just kind of tells you what to do, and then you've had that other person who makes you want to do your best work. So what is the actual difference between them? It's so easy to think that leadership is something that comes with the job title. But honestly, that's probably one of the biggest myths out there. Real leadership has nothing to do with the chair you sit in. It's all about the people who choose to follow you.
When you really boil it down, leadership isn't about spreadsheets or quarterly reports. It's about people. It's understanding what makes them tick, what drives them, what they're afraid of. Put simply, the most effective leadership is really just applied psychology. So, that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to break down 5 essential psychological keys, all backed by solid research that can help literally anyone, no matter your title, become a much, much more effective leader.
Okay, first things first, we have to start with the absolute basics. Before you can even think about becoming a great leader, you've got to know what leadership actually is. And a huge part of that is separating it from a word we always get it confused with, management. Harvard's John Kotter gave us a really clear way to think about this. See, management is all about handling complexity. It's about keeping the trains running on time, planning, budgeting, solving problems, and you absolutely need it. But leadership is about change. It's the force that gets everyone pointed in the same direction, fired up about a vision, and inspired to create something totally new.
I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. A manager is a title the company gives you, but leadership, that's something you have to earn through your actions, day in and day out. You can be appointed a manager, sure, but you only become a leader when people make the conscious choice to follow you.
So, if leadership is all about action, where in the world do you start? Well, the journey doesn't start with your team. It starts with you. It is practically impossible to lead other people effectively if you don't first understand yourself. Think of it like this: active self-awareness. This isn't just, knowing you're good at some things and not so good at others. No, this is about having the courage and the drive to actually act on that knowledge, to be constantly learning and adjusting how you show up for the people around you. Okay, check this out. This is a perfect real-world example. There was this company that was having huge problems with engagement. People were even complaining about a bullying culture. When they looked at the personality types across the organization, they found this wild mismatch. The leaders were almost all TJ types, super logical, decisive, get-it-done kind of people. But the staff, they were mostly FP types, who value harmony and personal connection. See the clash? The leaders weren't trying to be bullies. They were just completely unaware of how their direct, results-first style was coming across to a team that was desperate for a more personal, supportive approach. So how do you turn an insight like that into actual growth? Well, Robert Devine gave us this simple but totally brilliant model. First, you ask, what? You get some real, objective data about yourself. Then, so what? You work with someone, maybe a coach, to figure out what that data actually means in practice. And finally, now what? You make a simple, concrete plan to do something about it. It's a clear roadmap from awareness to action. And once you start understanding yourself better, that naturally leads to our third key, building an inclusive team. Because once you see your own unique makeup, you start to genuinely appreciate and value the differences in everyone else. And that, right there, is the core of inclusive leadership. And let me be perfectly clear, this isn't just some fluffy, feel-good idea. We are talking about bottom-line results. McKinsey research is super clear on this. Companies with the most gender diversity in their leadership are 25% more likely to be more profitable than their peers. And get this, the number jumps even higher when you look at ethnic diversity. We're talking a 36% higher likelihood of above-average profits. The data is just undeniable. Diversity isn't just the right thing to do. It is a massive strategic advantage. But here's the reality check. Even with all that proof, a Gartner study found that only about 31% of employees feel like their leaders actually create an inclusive environment. That is a huge gap between knowing what works and actually doing it. Okay, so if we're building that inclusive team, the next piece of the puzzle is making sure people feel connected and genuinely motivated. So how does a leader do that? It really boils down to understanding some fundamental human needs. The FIRO framework is a fantastic way to look at this.
Basically, it says that all of us have 3 core social needs, but we all prioritize them a little differently. For some people, it's all about inclusion, that need to belong, to be part of the in-group. For others, it's about control, the need to have influence and a say in what happens. And for others, it's about affection, that desire for close, one-on-one relationships. This is exactly why a one-size-fits-all motivational speech just falls flat. It ignores what people actually care about. So what does work? Well, expectancy theory gives us a really practical 3-step formula. First, the goal has to feel reachable. Your team has to believe, yeah, we can actually do this. Second, they have to trust that if they hit the goal, you will deliver on your promises. And third, the reward you're offering has to be something they actually want. It's like a chain. If any one of those links breaks, motivation just disappears.
And all of this leads us to the final key, which is really the ultimate test of leadership, guiding your team through the absolute chaos of disruptive change. This is where the psychology becomes non-negotiable.
We're always told that great leaders are visionaries. But think about it. When things are going crazy, when there's a real crisis, a big abstract vision for the future can feel completely disconnected from the fear people are feeling right now. What they need in that moment isn't vision, it's something called holding. It's about being present, providing reassurance, and making people feel psychologically safe.
This quote just nails it. When the building's on fire, you don't need someone giving a speech about the amazing new building you're all going to build one day. You're already motivated to get out. What you need is someone to contain the panic, to be a calm center, and to guide you through the smoke so you can move with purpose. That's what holding is.
So, when you bring it all together, what's the one common thread? From self-awareness to inclusion to navigating a crisis, it all comes down to psychological safety. Great leadership isn't about having all the right answers. It's about creating an environment where people feel safe enough to find the answers together. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. How safe do the people you lead truly feel?